Dear Chosen One, there is something happening around you that you have not yet fully realized. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be drawn into your life with an inexplicable intensity? Why some connections arise in such an overwhelming way, as if they were made for you, only to later become a heavy burden that drains your energy? There is a secret that almost no one dares to reveal. Evil not only hates you, it desires you. Yes, it wants you for itself. And if it cannot destroy you, it will do everything to seduce your soul, imprison your mind, and enslave your energy. What you are about to see may change the way you perceive the relationships around you. And by the time you realize what is happening, it might be too late to turn back. Before we dive deeper into this mystery, strengthen our community of the Ryu, Chosen. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a revelation. In the comments, leave the number 777 to declare your resistance against the dark seductions that seek your vital energy. The enemy does not act as you imagine. It does not present itself with a threatening face. It does not come with violence or obvious attacks. On the contrary, it uses what you desire most against you. It wears masks, it adapts, it whispers sweet words at the right moment. It observes your desires, your needs, your weaknesses, and then disguises itself as what seems to be your greatest blessing. Have you ever met someone who seemed like the perfect person, but over time, something started to feel off? Have you ever received an opportunity that shone like gold, only to later discover it was an illusion that trapped you in something you couldn't escape? If the answer is yes, then you have already experienced the oldest strategy of evil: camouflaged seduction. This is a spiritual game, and you need to understand it before it's too late. Evil desires to possess the Chosen One because it knows it cannot create its own light. It can only steal yours. It surrounds you, observes your emotions, learns your patterns. It wears the skin of those you love. It becomes the friend who seems to understand all your pains. It takes the form of an opportunity that promises to solve all your problems. And when you least expect it, you are trapped, confused, drained of energy, and without the strength to fight. Now tell me, Chosen One, who in your life is trying to silently drain you? Who came too close too quickly and seems to know exactly how to touch you? If you feel that something is off around you, you need to keep listening, because what I am about to reveal may open your eyes and change everything. Evil never arrives in an obvious way. It does not wear a monstrous face, nor does it announce itself with blatant threats. On the contrary, it disguises itself as what you desire most. It takes the form of an intense love, an irresistible friendship, a promise that seems written in the stars. And that is how the trap closes. Chosen One, think about the moments in your life when someone entered overwhelmingly, as if they were the missing piece of your puzzle. At first, everything seemed perfect. Sweet words, unexpected gestures, an almost supernatural connection. But over time, you began to feel something strange, an invisible weight, an inexplicable fatigue, a subtle yugan that you were losing yourself. That was no coincidence. It was a carefully planned tactic, a game of spiritual manipulation where you were the prize. The enemy observes from afar before approaching. It studies your energy, your desires, your deepest pains. If you feel lonely, it will send someone who makes you feel understood, like never before. If you seek purpose, it will offer a shining path full of recognition and empty promises. If you yearn for peace, it will create an environment where, at first, everything seems safe, only to later drag you into an emotional chaos where you no longer know who you really are. The seduction of evil is not random. It is architected with surgical precision. The chosen one cannot be easily attacked, so the strategy is to make you lower your guard. It is not a battle of strength. It is a psychological and spiritual battle. After all, the enemy does not need to destroy you if it can make you destroy yourself from within. If it can plant doubts in your mind, make you question yourself, lose yourself in the confusion of emotions, it has already won half the war. Have you noticed how some people enter your life like a storm, bringing extreme emotions, wild passions, impossible promises? And when you give in, when you believe you have finally found what you were looking for, something changes. The energy is no longer the same. The spark in that person's eyes begins to seem empty. The words that once lifted you now destabilize you. Suddenly, you find yourself trying to hold on to what was once magical, without realizing that this was the strategy all along, to make you addicted to the illusion, so that when it is taken away, you are left vulnerable and dependent. This is the cruelest form of imprisonment, one that makes it seem like you entered by choice. And this is exactly how evil works with the chosen ones. It does not force anything. It presents you with an irresistible feast and watches as you, of your own will, take the first steps toward the abyss. And by the time you realize it, you are already trapped. Not physically, but spiritually and emotionally. The enemy does not need visible chains when it can bind you with invisible ties. Ties of fear, doubt, attachment, and exhaustion. It makes you feel special, unique, destined for something great. And then, little by little, it undermines your self-confidence, drains your energy, and confuses your perception. But here is the truth it fears you will discover. You were never truly trapped. The illusion only works as long as you believe in it. The enemy can only bind you as long as you accept the ties it has created. The moment you awaken, the moment you see the game, everything begins to crumble. Chosen one, now tell me, how many times have you fallen into this trap without realizing it? How many people have entered your life as blessings, only to leave behind a trail of confusion and exhaustion? If this question resonates with you, then keep listening, because what comes next may be the key to freeing your soul once and for all. Chosen one, there is something you need to understand. The enemy never plays fair. It does not drag you into darkness all at once. It guides you there with gentle steps, making you choose to cross the boundary between truth and delusion. It uses the art of emotional manipulation, the kind that makes you feel special, unique, understood, as if you have finally found a home in someone's heart or in an opportunity that seems made for you. But as soon as you give in, the game changes. Small signs of control begin to appear. Your emotions no longer belong to you. Your thoughts begin to revolve around that person, that promise, that situation that seemed like your salvation. You are being seduced, not with explicit words, but with the feeling that your soul has found something it cannot lose. And that is exactly where the danger lies. Because what the enemy truly wants is not just to confuse you. It wants to make you dependent on the illusion it has created. It knows that if it can convince you that you have found what you have always been searching for, you will do anything not to lose it. The fear of loss becomes the invisible chain that keeps you bound. You begin to justify the warning signs, ignore the small inconsistencies, and turn a blind eye to the contradictions. Maybe I'm overreacting. No one is perfect. I must be paranoid. And at that moment, the enemy smiles, because it knows you have already fallen into the trap. Now, you are willing to sacrifice your own peace to keep the illusion alive. This happens because the seduction of evil is not just made of promises. It is made of cycles. First, there is ecstasy, the feeling that you have found something or someone that fills a void within you. Then comes confusion, small moments of doubt, instability, and emotional manipulation. And then, when you begin to realize that something is wrong, comes the third stage, guilt. The enemy will make you believe that the problem is you. You are not trying hard enough. You are not being understanding. You are the one who needs to change, to accept, to yield. This is how evil turns the chosen one into a prisoner. Not with visible chains, but with false feelings of obligation and attachment. This cycle is designed to weaken you. The longer you remain trapped in it, the more your energy is drained. Your mind becomes foggy. Your intuition begins to fail. Your light begins to dim. The chosen one, who was once strong, becomes someone struggling to remember who they truly are. But there is one detail the enemy always forgets. You can awaken at any moment. The prison is only real as long as you believe in it. The moment you realize the game, the moment you see the patterns and understand that the confusion does not come from you but from external manipulation, the spell begins to break. You do not need to fight the enemy in the way it expects. You simply need to stop playing its game. The first step to escaping this trap is to recognize the signs. The enemy may try to hide its presence, but it always leaves traces. Observe the patterns. Is there someone in your life who causes you constant emotional confusion? Is there a situation that seems perfect but, deep down, drains you? Do you feel like you are always struggling to maintain something that should come naturally? If you have to force the connection, if something or someone makes you feel exhausted, lost, or insecure, then something is wrong. Evil does not come with screams. It whispers. It wants you to get used to the pain, to normalize the discomfort, to accept manipulation as if it were love. But here is the truth. It does not want you to realize true love, true connections, true light do not need to make you suffer to exist. Another clear sign that the enemy is trying to seduce you is the inversion of reality. Have you noticed how, in some relationships, what once seemed like freedom begins to transform into a prison? How certain people make you question your own sanity, your own perceptions. This is called psychological distortion, a subtle but highly effective method of control. The enemy plants small doubts, convinces you that your instincts are wrong, makes you distance yourself from your own intuition. It wants you to depend on its vision, to accept the truths it constructs, to trust its words more than your own soul. Because when you begin to doubt yourself, you become controllable. And a chosen one who has lost their internal compass becomes a puppet in the wrong hands. But there is one detail that evil can never erase. The light of the chosen one never completely disappears. Even if it is covered by layers of manipulation, even if the weight of exhaustion has made you forget who you are, your essence is still there. The enemy knows this, and that is why it tries to keep you trapped in exhaustion. Because the only way to prevent a chosen one from awakening is to keep them distracted and drained. This is why so many people who enter your life seem to consume your energy. They are not just hurting you emotionally, they are keeping you from your spiritual awakening. If you have been living surrounded by relationships that drain your strength, if you have felt your mind heavy, your spirit restless, understand this. It is no coincidence. You are being suffocated, so you do not see the truth. The truth is that you have always had the power to free yourself. The enemy wants you to believe that you need it, that without this person, this situation, or this illusory promise, you will be lost. But that is the biggest lie of all. You do not need to hold on to what hurts you to survive. You do not need to continue feeding connections that weaken you. You were not born to be a prisoner of a cycle of pain. And the moment you realize, this is the moment the chains begin to break. The enemy fears this moment. It knows that if the chosen one awakens, there is nothing that can stop them. Now I ask you, have you begun to see the illusions around you? Have you noticed which people or situations are keeping you trapped in a cycle of exhaustion? If so, then get ready. In the next moments, I will show you exactly how to cut these ties and reclaim your power. But first, you need to be ready to face the truth without fear. Because what comes next will not be easy, but it will be liberating. Chosen one. The moment of your liberation has arrived. But before you can break these chains, you must understand that the enemy will not simply let you go without a fight. As soon as you begin to awaken, it will try to pull you back. The people who once seemed to control you subtly will now try to convince you that without them, you will be lost. They will use guilt, nostalgia, promises. The illusion will try to strengthen itself one last time. This happens because evil senses when it is losing control, and in desperation, it plays its final cards. The question is, will you fall for the final trick, or will you take a step forward and free yourself once and for all? The key to cutting these ties lies in one word: clarity. The enemy thrives in confusion, doubt, and the mental fog that makes you question your own perceptions. But when you see the truth, it loses its power, and you achieve this clarity through silence and distance. You must step away from the emotional whirlwind, distance yourself from the source of manipulation, and observe everything from afar, like a spectator. And when you do this, something frightening yet revealing will happen. You will realize that what seemed like love was never true love. You will see the patterns, the manipulations, the calculated words. You will understand that it wasn't you who was being difficult, fragile, or unstable. It was the environment that was making you sick. This truth may hurt at first, but it is the first step toward your true liberation. Once you step away, emptiness will come. This is one of the most dangerous moments in the process because the enemy knows you might falter. You will grieve the illusion, and this grief will be painful. You will miss what you thought you had, even though you know it was a prison. But understand this: this is not a sign to go back. It is a sign that the illusion is crumbling. Evil kept you trapped for so long that now, without it, you feel a void. But this void is not real. It is merely the space that was occupied by the lie, and this space can now be filled with truth. The enemy wants you back because it knows that if you fill this space with light, it will never have access to your soul again. And then comes the decisive moment: reconstruction. You begin to remember who you are, to reclaim your energy, to feel life flowing through you once more. At first, everything feels strange, as if you are relearning how to walk after being trapped for so long. But with each passing day, you feel stronger. The voices that once manipulated you begin to lose their power. What once attracted you now feels empty. You realize you never needed any of it. Your essence has always been enough. The enemy didn't want you to see this, because the moment the chosen one realizes their strength, they become unstoppable. Now that you have recognized the enemy's game and begun your liberation, it is time to shield yourself so this never happens again. Because here is the truth. Evil does not give up easily. It will try new approaches, new faces, new scenarios to ensnare you once more. But there is a difference now. You are awake, and an awakened chosen one becomes an impenetrable fortress when they learn to protect themselves spiritually. The first step to this shielding is one of the most powerful and underestimated: silence. The enemy works through chaos, distraction, and the flood of stimuli that make you lose connection with your essence. But in silence, you reconnect with your true strength. You hear your intuition, notice signs, and see patterns. Silence restores the clarity that evil tried to steal. Beyond silence, there is another weapon the enemy deeply fears: strategic isolation. This does not mean withdrawing from the world, but rather carefully selecting the energies around you. The chosen one can no longer associate with those who drain their light, who entangle them in confusion, who carry a vibration of destruction disguised as affection. Strategic isolation is the moment when you stop allowing unrestricted access to your soul. You close doors, you raise your standards, you learn that not everyone deserves to be near your energy. And from the moment you do this, something incredible happens. The enemy loses direct access to your mind and heart. It can only act through what you allow. But the chosen one's shielding would not be complete without the most powerful tool of all: spiritual anchoring. Chosen one, you need deep roots. You need daily practices that connect you with the truth, strengthen your vibration, and prevent any attack from finding space to grow within you. Meditation, prayer, fasting, contact with nature. These are not just habits. They are spiritual shields. Every time you align with your essence, you reinforce your frequency. And when your frequency is high, nothing of low vibration can touch you. This is the secret evil tries to hide. A chosen one aligned with their source is an untouchable being. Beyond your own energy, there is another fundamental principle in your shielding: the portals you open. Everything around you is a portal. The words you speak, the content you consume, the people you listen to. Everything you allow into your energetic field has the power to strengthen or weaken you. The enemy uses subtle portals to infiltrate doubts, fears, and destructive patterns. But when you become aware of this, you begin to choose wisely. You begin to filter. You only consume what expands you, only allow words that uplift you, and only share your energy with those who truly deserve it. And this choice changes everything. Chosen one. The enemy has many tricks, but there is one thing it fears above all: a chosen one who knows who they truly are. The real battle was never about destroying you physically. It was about convincing you that you were nothing more than an ordinary, vulnerable, purposeless being. Because the moment you awaken to your true identity, all the enemy's strategies become useless. It can no longer manipulate you because you no longer seek external validation. It can no longer weaken you because you no longer give your energy to the wrong hands. It can no longer confuse you because now you see beyond the illusions. The enemy only has power over those who still doubt themselves. But you, chosen one, are no longer easy prey. And here is the final secret. The enemy never had control over you. It only made you believe it did. Think of all the times you felt paralyzed by fear, attachment, or doubt. How many of those chains were real? How many of them were just lies skillfully planted in your mind to keep you from realizing that the key to your freedom has always been in your hands? Evil operates through suggestion, conditioning, and false narratives that make you feel small. But now you see. Now you understand that your power was never outside of you. It was always within. You just needed to remember. The enemy may try, it may lurk, it may create new distractions. But now, you are unshakable. You feel when something does not resonate with your soul. You notice when an energy does not belong on your path. You have become the master of your own destiny. And this is the truth the enemy has always feared. It never had real power over an awakened chosen one. The only thing it could do was keep you asleep. But now, you are awake. And an awakened chosen one is a force that nothing can stop. And here is the final step to ensure the enemy never has access to you again. Cut any ties that still bind you to the past. Evil loves using half-open doors. Those relationships you maintain out of habit. Those thoughts you still feed out of attachment. Those fears you don't fully release. Close those doors. Burn the bridges that connect you to what weakened you. Choose to be completely reborn. Choose a new cycle where you not only survive, but live with your full power. This is true liberation, and it is in your hands now. Now, you are faced with the ultimate truth. You will never be the same again. The veil has been torn, the illusions have been dispelled, and the strength that has always been within you has fully awakened. You no longer need to fear what lurks in the shadows, because now it is the light itself that makes the shadows retreat. The enemy may try to approach, may whisper old temptations, may bring new faces with old traps, but none of it will have any effect, because you no longer vibrate at the same frequency as what once tried to bind you. You are no longer an easy target. You are no longer someone who can be seduced by what glitters without essence. Now, you see beyond the surface. You feel the truth before it is even spoken. And because of this, you will never again be touched by deception. You have become what evil fears most: an awakened, conscious, impenetrable chosen one. No matter how many attacks come, no matter what tests destiny places in your path, you are prepared. And more than that, you are now a real threat to the very system that tried to imprison you. Your light is not just your own. It illuminates the path for others. Your wisdom is not just a shield. It is a sword that cuts every lie at its root. The game is over. The enemy has lost. And you have won. Chosen one. Now you understand the truth. The enemy never had power over you. It only tried to make you forget who you truly are. But that era is over. You are awake, you see. And because of this, you will never again be manipulated, never again be broken, never again be seduced by what does not resonate with your soul. Your journey does not end here. In fact, it is only beginning. Because now that you are free, you have become a beacon for others. Other chosen ones are still trapped in the illusions that once tried to bind you. They still do not see the game. And this makes you not just a survivor, but a warrior, a guardian, a master of your own destiny. You have won. Reflect on this awakening and take concrete action. Leave your like and share this video to illuminate the path for others who are still struggling in the darkness. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future explorations. In the comments, write 7, 7. 7 to affirm your awakening and your new vision, uniting with those who walk in the light of truth and spiritual freedom. Every 777 is a step forward on the journey of enlightenment and a symbol of your resistance to dark manipulations. Chosen one, your light is too strong to be extinguished. Never forget this. We'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, and may God always illuminate your path.